Today I'd like to prosecute the case that the Peltzer family from Gremlins aren't good people and may even be criminals. So as we enter the festive season, I thought I'd play the role of Grinch as I prosecute the case that the Peltzer family from Gremlins indeed aren't good people and may even be responsible for criminal behaviour. So let's start with absent father Lyn Peltzer. Now I know most of us have dreams, but most of us see the writing on the wall after a few years. We know when not to throw good money out after bad, and when to quit our dreams for a real job, or at least put in the hard yards of working a real job and chasing our dreams on the side, either or, but not Lyn Peltzer. Lyn Peltzer's been neglecting his family and chasing his melonhead dreams, trying to sell inventions nobody wants for decades. I mean, it's abundantly clear that Lyn Peltzer really doesn't care about his wife Lyn, their son Billy, or even their dog Barney. So the bank's ready to foreclose on the house. They have been for some time. The family never know where their next meal's coming from. But even still, Lyn Peltzer won't put on his big boy pants and go get a real job. And don't even get me started on Lyn's indifference to the issues of introduced species, animal smuggling and US bio laws. He's criminally negligent in all of these regards. And then there's his wife Lyn Peltzer. Lyn may appear to be the victim in Gremlins. She's in a loveless marriage for starters, and Lyn's off living his best life with little to no regard for her happiness at all. But Lyn Peltzer does have a darker side. She's probably been planning to serve old Rand up a special mushroom stew for some time, I'd say. A mushroom stew laced with special ingredients. And when the Gremlins go through their innocent metamorphosis to the next stage of their lives, living their best lives, Lyn basically snaps and murders all the Gremlins in her house. Now, Lyn didn't know if they were dangerous or just hopelessly misunderstood. I tend to lean towards the latter myself. But she stabs, blends and microwaves first and asks questions later. I mean, this case would never fly as a justifiable homicide in any court of law. She's just this merciless, bloodthirsty, cold-blooded killer, and she does appear quite adept at killing. Clearly she's done this before, and quite frequently, with her skill set. I reckon we need a full search of the Peltzer home with cadaver dogs so we can finally find out where all the bodies are buried. And finally we come to perhaps the worst of the Peltzer family. I am talking about one Billy Peltzer. I mean, Billy's a slacker, a chip off the old block. Chip off Lyn Peltzer's old block, to say the least. For starters, he's a slacker who's always late to work at the bank. And then he plays the victim when he's performance managed by his boss. And his laissez-faire attitude continues with his duty of care, if you can even call it that, of the multitude of mogwai. Billy's completely negligent and solely responsible for blatantly disregarding all the rules and causing the worst ecological catastrophe that the town of Kingston Falls has ever seen. He's negligent in pretty much everything except his scheming and plotting at work, as he abuses his minor position of authority to try and get the leg over with Phoebe Cates. So as you can see, the Peltzers really aren't good people at all. They're bordering on criminally negligent in several cases, and it'd be quite a open and shut case in any court of law. You can tar the Gremlins with the villainous brush all you like, with the scarlet letter, but at the end of the day, these are poor, misunderstood creatures who run purely on instinct. They can't be blamed for anything. Whereas the Peltzers, on the other hand, well, this trio are the real cold, calculating monsters of the movie. Lyn Peltzer's an absent father and poor provider, and then we have Lyn Peltzer, who's a bloodthirsty killer, who probably has more bodies buried under the house than John Wayne Gacy or your average serial killer from the 70s. And then Billy's criminally negligent in every regard. He's responsible for the biggest example of ecological terror in living memory in Kingston Falls, with the unleashing of a plague of feral gremlins. But you shouldn't blame the Gremlins for all of this, so spare a thought for the much maligned Gremlins next time you watch, as you realise who the real villains of Gremlins are, and that is indeed the Peltzer family. So thanks for watching as I've unpacked the villainy and the criminality of the Peltzer family. If you've enjoyed this content, please like, share and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.